Hey y'all, Grandpa, aka The Fits, came across one or two interesting videos today. One that brought back something that I think I had forgotten. I can't remember if I had actually officially known, at least to the extent of what I saw. It's a religious one now. This one between, uh, I wouldn't say Islam, but Muslim and Christianity. This guy was saying he was experiencing religious persecution, him and his family, them and stuff. So I guess he was under threats. His family was under threats of being killed and stuff like that. Long story short, they wanted him, or was trying to force, I guess, him to switch to Muslim worship, which is something Christians don't do. Force nobody to follow us. You either do it or you don't. Like God said, you're either with him or you're against him. But one of the things he was saying, that things that they actually do, I guess, or is allowed or permitted, talking about rape, why rape and stuff like that increased so much, or has been, I guess, such a big thing, I guess, nowadays, or however, that they actually do go out and rape, whether it's for pleasure or whatever else. It's like it's allowed, they're allowed to rape non-Muslim people. They get punished, I guess, just like anybody else if they do it to a Muslim person. But to a non-Muslim person, they actually okay it for them to rape them and all them kind of things. I had forgotten that part. I think I had heard it was something else, but I know they, I guess, feel like the, I don't know, I wouldn't say pinnacle, but as if there's nothing else. Now my thing, I'm in my head, I'm saying, they saying there's only one God. Christianity saying there's only one God. I know if you read it sometimes, like for a while I had a big question. It's like, I knew God was God at that point by the time I got into reading the Bible and stuff. But they got some little puzzling things sometimes, even if you read the Bible, where you actually hear certain things being said, like God says he is a jealous God. Now you gotta remember, this thing was put onto paper by people, especially modern days, and then after having the translation from whatever they used to speak back in them days when it was actually written, to have me think, if that's what it says, a jealous God, it kind of makes you think that there's maybe other types of gods or something like that. But ultimately, still one God. Nah, can't remember if I did one on this before. I think I might have touched on it a while back, maybe on another account, or I don't know if it's on one of my new YouTube or older YouTube accounts. Well, there's been a lot of religious back and forth wars and stuff like that. And from the outside in, just looking at what the news and stuff says, it always makes you seem like it's not always a religious war, but from the Muslim side, it always seems like they're promoting it as some type of, religious thing. Nah, besides all the back and forth, because I don't know all the ins and outs personally about what exactly is going on. Sometimes you feel like you know, and then sometimes you feel like you ain't sure. Like it's always some kind of twist that you ain't necessarily sure what or who to believe. And then sometimes you feel you don't know if you actually hearing the truth from either side, and then you feel like you're hearing the truth from both sides. But the big bickering is, I guess, one of the things they saying that their main teacher or prophet was a person who they called Muhammad. And the Bible there's a person that's mentioned in the Bible that's also has a name that seems to go along with somehow what they've been saying, the Muslim people, I mean, with Muhammad. And that person in the Bible is Elijah. And somehow, if you listen to both people, sides of the coin talk, they both seem to agree that that particular person exists. Now, I don't know exactly how come they made some kind of, I don't know, if I never read the Quran to say study. I think I read maybe a passage or two just to see what it looked like back in the day. But I don't know really anything about what it says like that. But they both agree that that Elijah person exists. In the Bible, they call him Elijah. I guess in their teachings and stuff, they call him Muhammad. How come they can't or won't seem to acknowledge that God has a son? Now, if you listen to them on their side, they're saying that, I don't know if it's written about in their book, Quran or whatever, any mention of Jesus or anything like that. But somehow, if you hear them talk, some of them do acknowledge that, yeah, there is a person that is called Jesus. And they consider him, I guess maybe some of them consider him to be like a prophet per se. But their religion, I guess, is based around a prophet. And Christianity is kind of based around who they consider a prophet. Here's the thing. Christianity has a few, I think, prophets, or maybe more than a few prophets mentioned in the Bible, none of which are known as or called to be God's son per se. I don't know if Muslim people have more than one prophet in their thing or not, because I only really seem to hear them talk about this Muhammad person. I don't know if they mention a first or last name for him in their Quran or their teachings, but in the Bible, I only think I've heard of who they seem to be talking about as a one-name person, also Elijah. And neither of those actually really are in either teaching have been considered to be a son of God based on the name and they're using. Now, you can look at the Bible and look at it, especially how it's written nowadays. If it's laid out the way it's supposed to be laid out nowadays, I know they've been teaching, that there will be a time when things will be changed and stuff like that, in the Bible at least. Whether it means complete omissions, redactions, stuff like that, switched, adjusted, maybe just shuffled around perhaps, as far as, the layout as, the sequence of where things actually happen. But if you read it from front to back, sometimes it doesn't really seem as if it's all in place. Now, maybe we got some of them wishy-washy Bibles, but the truth's still in there. And if they can agree so much about the way people technically should live, why is it this one bickering back and forth about a prophet and a prophet and God's son and God's son? My thing is this, one of them at least, without asking any of them per se, I would always like to get a chance to go and sit down and talk with somebody who seems to be kind of knowledgeable about what they do, Muslim people, and then to find out if the God that they worship, they call him Allah, is he limited in anything that he can do or can't do? Like how Christianity knows God, they refer to as Jehovah, some say Yahweh if you use the whole teachings, is unlimited all powerful, omnipotent, can do anything. So does their God, or who they use the name Allah for as God, is he the same one for real that they are telling people is the same only one God that's also unlimited in what he can do? Because if he is, why would they? Well, anyway, let me see if I can roll this up into a better sequence so this can roll out. I've been telling people before, I know I've mentioned this in other posts. Islam, or they call it Muslim religion, was around a long time before Christianity. And Christianity is called Christianity because of the name of God's Son, Jesus, who started, you could say, a faith, or the religious or faith movement way of life, which is called Christianity. Why they called him Christ, it became the term Christianity, Christ like, or like trying to be like Christ or worshiping Christ. Now, I understand Muslim people, they try and, they direct their worship directly to God, which is another thing. Why their prophet, I guess, maybe instructed them in ways how to, I guess, interact and live for God, if that's the case of what, if I'm getting the, correct understanding. Whereas God, before Jesus was here, used to do the same thing, interact directly with people, or, he sent his angels and stuff like that, back in the day, as I guess they became a lot, more wicked from, just wicked being just pulling people away from God wherever he feels he could, I guess, wherever they fall through the cracks or whatever. But when Jesus came, then the instructions were for those to go to God through him. Not to say teach and, pray to, whoever else, like they have to pray to Jesus. You can still, I guess, pray, to God, which is what, we do. Some people actually pray, to Jesus, which is also what we do. But if they or we refer to God's Son as Jesus, like the book says, that's what the name is. I hear some people mixing up or saying the name, trying to say it in the old ways, Yahshua or something like that. I do not know if that is the same word, but based on what I'm hearing people say or trying to say, that's what the them times pronunciation of what the word or the name actually is or means or something like that. The book says Jesus, so I'm gonna use that. Why? Because in our book there's a place and time where God sends some angels. Y'all heard the story, Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, this is just my thinking. I wouldn't say anybody else hasn't considered it or thought of it, but if God moves people from a place that, who knows if it was ever good, but at the time he sent them people, it was horrible. Them angels, I said, it was horrible. And the instructions was given to those people was to leave, if I guess more or less, if they want their life, and not even say go back, don't even look back. And there's a monument somewhere around them parts of a person that decided to look back, and y'all heard the story of what happened to them. Now, in this faith and sequencing, I was saying, if God is, not saying if, I know he is unlimited in what he can do, why is it they're seeming to have some sort of an issue with the fact that God instructed nowadays people to God, follow and do what his son says to do in order to get to heaven. And that's a big problem, I think, with a lot of them, because I think culturally, a lot of these people wasn't dark-skinned people back in them times, and some of their stuff is actually apparently culturally systemic, kind of, I wouldn't say racist, or kind of prejudice, where some of them I think are actually still feeling like there's a white and black kind of thing. Now, I don't know if this Muhammad person to them, mind you, this is a long time ago. So if that's the case, we're talking about the same people. Jesus been, it's 2026, so 2026 would be technically Jesus' earth age. Now, if the both books have this person's Elijah or Muhammad's name in it, the Bible is written more or less from the beginning of, explaining about how earth was made, and from Adam and Eve them time. No specific date as far as how that is, but that's in the past, a long time ago. But the both names still in there, however long ago it is. So maybe I'll go and look up and see exactly when this Muhammad person came to be, maybe in their religion. But from what I remember doing in little school, religious knowledge class and stuff like that, it was probably a good while before Jesus came around and was born. So if this same one God that we acknowledge and know is the real God is the same God that they acknowledge and believe is the real God, only one God that's unlimited, why would they say that he doesn't have a son or can't have a son? And some of y'all got children. Don't a lot of y'all have children? Which one of y'all can do more than what God can do? Who? With who? Which one of y'all is going to claim that y'all can do more than God can do? Hmm? So, if our unlimited God, in y'all words, is the same God that y'all call Allah, who y'all say is y'all unlimited God, is y'all God limited to not being able to make or have children? Or is there somebody mistaken someplace? Because anything is anything. And if man could do it, guess who else could definitely do it? While it's all us walking around here above ground, came from dust and mud, could do it. You don't think the person who made all this could do it? And if that same God has decided to say, even if y'all was one of the communication forms between him and mankind back in the day, some might argue still is or are, like the people that was told to do. I'm not saying that what was happening with them said was bad, but think of it as like a phone. If God says to y'all, hey, I'm not going to be over there anymore, or for right now, I'm going over here, is that something else y'all God can't or won't or don't do? Or is he fully capable and in his right to say to his and any people, hey, he's going over here, new location, hey, I got a phone number or something like that, you want to reach me, call this number, so to speak. This my man, this my son. If it's important enough, you reach me through him. That's out of reach of y'all God's capacity to do that. Because it ain't but ours. What's so hard to grasp about that concept? While y'all seem to be at war with some of the most beautiful people on earth, whilst the rest of us trying to figure out what's going on, who's convincing the beautiful people to go against them as if it wasn't enough hating on us originally. You know, that thing got cast out of heaven and became kind of the opposite of what it was. From the most beautiful being God created to the flip side, flip mode. Something that now jealous of anything beautiful and hating of anything beautiful. Hating of anything, period. The one not really capable of loving. We seem to kind of agree on who that being is, sort of, also, don't we? So, if God says He has a son, guess what? He has a son. And the only way to get to where He is, which is that place called heaven, that everybody hopes to get to, Christianity, the fast track, one time, and if you did it right, you go there. I know if y'all said there's times and times and times where if you get to keep going and going and going, and I guess based on what y'all saying, Muslim people, I mean, if you did good or bad, you still live again, but you do good, you move up, I guess, a certain level or something like that in life or status or however it goes. And if you didn't do that good or you did bad, you go down, however much a status or however much it goes in y'all, what y'all call next life. Now, if He said not to look back to those people, kind of see something correlating with looking back sometimes in general with certain things, like it applies to other things in life also. So if that was where He was and He said He moved over there, why are we going looking over there if He said He over here to get to Him? I mean, we ain't doing it, but I mean, why would they want to encourage other people to do it unless they've been totally lost and really have to go through the whole lesson of religion and God and stuff like that through the times and then make their way over to where Christianity is if they ain't exactly heard about it? Because everybody is going to get a chance to hear about it if they haven't already. That's the thing about Christianity. Direct access to the way He said to get up is through His son. And His name ain't Muhammad. Not in our book. His name ain't Elijah. The one that's in our book. Now, some might say, yeah, he's a prophet. Yeah, he has spoken of things that have happened that, will happen, which is what a prophet does. It's not so much, people say, like fortune telling. It's not per se fortune telling. He tells of what is to come. And somebody says that in a way that things actually happen to be. This what some people would, they consider a prophet. But the difference is with him, is he's more than that. He's God's son. Technically, you could say God's direct phone line to him because he ain't talking to any and everybody like how he was back in them days. Because some of us too bad. Like that temple story I told y'all from back when, even when Jesus grew up in, they called it Jewish, like synagogue and stuff like that, but they used to use in worship places back in them times where only the high priest could go into, that what they call that certain special place. We used to tie the rope and the bells and stuff like that around his foot, so when he go in there and he wrong, they gotta pull him out. You remember that story? Where only certain people could go to certain places, and if they right, and they could come back out, and if they wrong, you gotta pull them back out. Why would we go back? You got a direct line. Now I admit that one that got like them, we call it Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner commercials, all the way down and Splat and all them kind of things, if that's how it was. Infiltrated anything good, not just Christianity or Islam. You could look around and anything that's been good or beneficial of God, from God, good at all. It's tried to make itself real prominent in a lot of these good situations, and then what happens afterwards? Don't start going to hell. And you got a few stragglers that say, hold on, what happened to all the integrity about this stuff that, we liked and loved so much? I noticed that. So now there's a direct line. One way up. I've heard they say this thing about certain religions, or I wouldn't say it's a religion, but people who live a certain way of life culturally don't move backwards. It's like a martial arts kind of thing, where some people are, from what I was told to don't attack moving backwards, only forward. And I've heard people actually seen it for myself, read it, that it's those people are called messengers. Now, people might call them heinous assassins, but if you look it up, they're considered messengers. Hold on a second. And I ain't gonna say directly they was messengers of God, as if to say call them angels, because we all think of them as heavenly beings that mystically appear or come down from heaven or the skies. Another mysterious kind of stuff, that God works. It says he works in mysterious ways. But if you read the Bible, somewhere towards the end of it, I can't remember, but you could look it up. There is a passage in there that says that people, can become like angels from, doing what they're supposed to do. Now, like I said, those people, if it's true, their philosophy is about getting the message through. Like the Pony Express, the mail must go through. Getting the message to who it's supposed to go to. No fail. So hopefully this go to who it's supposed to get to. So y'all can stop all that foolishness and have the world wondering if we looking playing hopscotch whether to jump in and try and help or to sit on the side and try and figure out for something that look more clear to make some understanding of what it is y'all going through. If it ain't nothing other than that, mind you, I think it's more than that, because it's like I said, that thing done infiltrated a lot of the best of everything that's on this planet. So if y'all going at him, don't y'all think y'all should consult with who God said to follow whilst he was here, I should say, and consult or somebody in direct association with that particular person as far as what to do, that kind of thing. The angels don't have to ask no questions because they come in direct with it and know what they gotta do and supposed to do. That's the cool thing about that divinity kind of thing. Direct from God, there ain't no filter needed. But for those that maybe have or will become like them, I'm not sure exactly what those specific rules is about what they do, if they a bit more human-like or if they fully superpowered, God-powered, like how I like to say, like the angels, the regular angels also, or perhaps maybe they are what are considered earth angels. I remember, like I said, I asked a woman when I first came home training at the gym, one of the few people that came away with me when I was, I guess, being seemingly, I don't know, exiled out of the gym or whatever. The clients went missing after I came back from a jury duty thing where I had to go to court for a couple of weeks. She was one of the few people that, still wanted to come and train or was still there when I came back, for training. I got to asking her, she said she was a Muslim or something like that. It's like I never really asked this question to none of y'all, but in y'all book or teachings, does it actually make any mention of, of like angels, like y'all believe like angels exist and stuff like that? And she's like, well, yeah. I can't remember if it's the exact term that they use, angel, but they said, yeah, they have beings like that they talk about in their training. I was like, oh, okay. So it's another thing they agree on. But still, I didn't say this dumb, but if God says He moving over here and He's talking about anybody on earth nowadays that needs to do the right thing, wants to do the right thing, wants to know the right way, regardless of what the past is about, don't get salty. You included in whatever that is, unless He is giving you all some specific, some kind of something to follow. From what I understand, it means everybody that's here after Christ got here and did his thing as far as showing people what to do and how to do it through the way He lived. Not new phone number, a phone number, quote unquote. Not a prophet. The direct instructions. So, and the God time and great thing to say. That's a good question to have. Oh, YouTube. Wow, YouTube. Yeah, we love him for a reason. For lots of reasons, actually.